You've got to be kidding me. The words escaped my mouth before I could stop them. There, sitting at the corner table of the cheapest diner in downtown Seattle, wearing a dress I'd seen her mother iron in our laundry room just yesterday, was Marlo Chen, the maid's daughter. At my $4 blind date. Her head snapped up from the laminated menu, and I watched the color drain from her face. Those dark eyes, the ones I'd caught staring at me 100 times through doorways and across hallways, went wide with horror. Dorian? Her voice came out as a strangled whisper. What are you doing here? I should have walked out. I should have turned around and pretended I'd never seen her. But something, pride, maybe, or that stupid app my assistant had convinced me to try, kept my feet planted on the sticky linoleum floor. Apparently, I said, pulling out the cracked vinyl chair across from her, I'm on the worst date of my life. Before this gets even more uncomfortable, if you're already hooked on where this is going, subscribing is really important for Blaze Stories' growth. These real-life dramatic encounters deserve to be shared and heard. Marlo's jaw tightened. Nobody's forcing you to stay, Dorian Ashford. Feel free to go back to whatever penthouse party you're supposed to be at. The venom in her voice surprised me. In the 3 years her mother had worked at our estate, Marlo had barely spoken 10 words to me. She'd been the quiet girl who came to pick up her mom after shifts, who'd wait in the service entrance with her head buried in library books, who'd disappeared like smoke whenever I came near. Now she was glaring at me like I'd personally offended her entire bloodline. I signed up for this stupid dating experiment, I said, feeling defensive for reasons I didn't understand. $4 dates. Real connections. No pretense. Right. She laughed, but there was no humor in it. Because billionaire heirs need help finding real connections. Must be so hard being you, Dorian. All that money, all those desperate socialites throwing themselves at you. My heart bleeds. I leaned back, studying her. She'd always been pretty in that quiet, overlooked way, the kind of beautiful people don't notice until they really look. But right now, with anger flushing her cheeks and fire snapping in her eyes, she was stunning. You don't know anything about my life, I said quietly. And you don't know anything about mine, she shot back. So why don't we just call this the disaster it is, Anne? Your order? The waitress appeared, pad in hand, looking bored. The special was $4 exactly, a burger, fries, and a drink. The whole point of the app, limiting dates to $4 to force genuine conversation instead of expensive distractions. I hadn't eaten diner food in years. My last meal had been prepared by a Michelin star chef. But something about the way Marlo was watching me, challenging me, made me say, 2 specials, please. The waitress left. Marlo stared at me. What are you doing? Staying, I said. Unless you want to leave? She should have left. Should have grabbed her thrift store purse and walked out. But I saw the moment curiosity won over pride. She settled back in her seat, arms crossed, still glaring. Fine. But don't expect me to be impressed by whatever slumming it routine you're performing. That stung more than it should have. You really hate me, don't you? I don't hate you, she said, and some of the fight went out of her voice. I don't know you. That's the point. You're just the guy who lives in the house where my mom scrubs toilets. The blunt truth of it hit me hard. I'd never thought about it that way, how Marlo saw me. I'd always assumed she was shy, maybe intimidated by my family's wealth. It never occurred to me that she might resent me for it. Your mom's a good person, I said quietly. She talks about you all the time. How you got a full scholarship to UW. How you're studying molecular biology. How proud she is. Marlo's expression flickered, surprise, maybe, or something softer. She talks about you too, she admitted. Says you're not like your father. That you actually say please and thank you. Low bar, but there it is. Despite everything, I smiled. My father's an asshole. I know. She said it so matter-of-factly that I actually laughed. The waitress returned with our food, greasy burgers that smelled like heaven and looked like heart attacks. Marlo picked up a fry, studying it like a scientific specimen. So, she said slowly, the app matched us. That means we answered questions similarly. Apparently, we're both emotionally damaged cynics who hate small talk and think most people are fake, I said, checking my phone for our compatibility results. 92% match. Great, she muttered. I'm compatible with a trust fund baby. And I'm compatible with someone who judges people before knowing them, I countered. Her eyes snapped to mine. For a long moment, we just stared at each other, the tension thick enough to cut. Then, slowly, her lips twitched. Okay, she said. Fair point. I'm judging you. I'm judging you too, I admitted. I assumed you were just some quiet girl who thought she was too good to talk to me. I thought you were some arrogant rich boy who wouldn't notice I existed unless he needed his shoes shined. We both sat back, the absurdity of it settling between us. Then Marlo did something unexpected, she smiled. Really smiled, not that tight, angry thing from before. And when she smiled, everything changed. This is ridiculous, she said, but she was almost laughing. We literally lived in the same building for 3 years and created entire personalities for each other based on nothing. Complete fiction, I agreed. So maybe we start over? Hi, I'm Dorian. I'm on this app because my assistant thinks I need to meet people who don't know my net worth before they know my name. She considered this, then extended her hand across the table. Marlo. I'm here because my roommate bet me $20 I wouldn't go on a $4 date. And also because she hesitated, because dating is expensive, and I'm broke. The honesty of it disarmed me completely. In my world, nobody admitted to being broke. They just quietly put everything on credit cards and pretended their designer clothes weren't bankrupting them. What's it like? I asked. Actually having to worry about money? Most people would have gotten defensive. But Marlo just looked at me, really looked at me, and seemed to understand I was genuinely asking. It's exhausting, she said simply. It's calculating if you can afford eggs this week or if you need that protein for studying. It's walking past the bookstore because you can't justify buying new when the library exists. It's watching your mom come home with her hands cracked and bleeding from cleaning chemicals and knowing she does it so you don't have to. Her voice didn't break, but I saw her throat work, saw the way her fingers tightened on her water glass. My mom cleans your toilets, she continued, so I can become a doctor. So I can be the first person in our family to not break her back for minimum wage. That's what it's like. I felt something crack open in my chest, shame, maybe, or perspective I'd never had to consider. I'm sorry, I said, and meant it. I'm sorry that's your reality. And I'm sorry if I've ever made it harder. You haven't, she admitted quietly. That's the thing. You've always been decent. That's what made me angrier, I think. It's easier to hate someone who's actually terrible. But you're just a guy who happened to be born into something I'll never have, no matter how hard I work. That's not fair, I said. No, she agreed. It's not. But it's true. We sat in that truth for a moment, the cheap diner suddenly feeling like the most honest place I'd ever been. Then Marlo picked up her burger, took a massive bite, and spoke around it. Okay, Dorian Ashford. Since we're stuck here, tell me something real. Not rich boy real. Actually real. I thought about all the things I could say, the pressure to join my father's company, the way people only wanted me for money or connections, the loneliness of never knowing who genuinely liked me. But what came out was simpler. I'm scared, I said. I'm 24 years old, and I've never had to struggle for anything, and I'm terrified that means I'm not actually good at anything. That without my father's money and name, I'm nobody. Marlo stopped chewing. Stared at me. Swallowed. That's the most honest thing I've ever heard you say. That's the most honest thing I've said to anyone, I admitted. She nodded slowly, then set down her burger. Okay. My turn. I'm scared too. I'm scared that even if I become a doctor, even if I make my mom proud, I'll still be the maid's daughter to people like your father. That I'll never actually escape where I came from. You're not defined by where you come from, I said. Says the guy who benefits from where he came from, she countered, but gently now, without the earlier edge. True, I acknowledged. But Marlo, you got a full scholarship to UW for molecular biology. Do you know how hard that is? You did that. Not your circumstances. You. She ducked her head, and I saw color rise in her cheeks. Stop being nice. It's confusing. Get used to it, I said, surprising myself. Because I think I want to see you again. Her head snapped up. What? After this date. I want another one. Maybe next time we spend $8. I was grinning now, feeling lighter than I had in months. Really live dangerously. Dorian, she said slowly, I'm your maid's daughter. Your father would lose his mind. Probably, I agreed. But my father doesn't get to decide who I spend time with. And honestly? I leaned forward, holding her gaze. I've lived in the same house as you for 3 years and never really saw you. Now I can't stop looking. So yeah, I want another date. Marlo bit her lip, and I could see her fighting a smile. This is insane. Completely, I agreed. So is that a yes? She picked up a fry, pointed it at me like a weapon. One condition. No expensive places. No showing off. We do this like normal people. Deal, I said immediately. Although I should warn you, I have no idea how normal people date. Neither do I, she admitted. I'd been too busy studying and working to date anyone. This is actually my first, she stopped, looking embarrassed. First date? I finished, surprised and somehow touched by that. First blind date, she corrected, but I saw the truth in her eyes. First date, period. Then I'm honored, I said softly. We finished our $4 meals, talking about everything, her research, my secret love of terrible reality TV, her dream of opening a free clinic in her neighborhood, my admission that I'd rather be a photographer than a CEO. The diner around us faded. The stickiness of the table, the fluorescent lights, the sounds of other diners, none of it mattered. What mattered was the girl across from me, who challenged me and saw through me and made me want to be better than the name I'd been born with. When we finally left, standing on the cracked sidewalk in the Seattle drizzle, Marlo turned to me. So, she said. $8 date? What does that even look like? I grinned. I have no idea. But I can't wait to find out. She smiled then, that real smile that transformed her face, and I knew I was in trouble. The best kind of trouble. Text me, she said, starting to walk away. Then she paused, looked back. And Dorian? Thank you. For staying. For listening. For being real. Thank you, I said, for giving me a chance. I watched her disappear into the Seattle evening, and I pulled out my phone to text my assistant, cancel everything tomorrow. I'm planning an $8 date. 3 months later, my father found out I was dating the maid's daughter. He threatened to cut me off. I chose Marlo. 2 years after that, I photographed her medical school graduation. 5 years after that, I photographed our wedding, a small ceremony in her neighborhood, where her mom cried and my father wasn't invited. And it all started with a $4 burger and the courage to stay when every instinct said to run. If this story touched your heart and made you believe in unexpected connections, hit that like button, subscribe to Blaze Stories, and comment below more stories like this. Your support means everything and helps us share more incredible true stories of real people finding real love. See you in the next one.